Hey, everybody.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm just a normal person here. Hello.
Sup?
And I continue
The
to
joke
wonder
that never ends.
why I'm still here.
Yes.
A never-ending joke.
I'm always tempted to do SpongeBob whenever I hear that. Hi, Patrick.
Oh, no.
Nope. No, we gotta shut that
I don't
shit
even
down
dare
right
go
now.
down the dark story route, Apache, because what the fuck?
Oh god,
You
it's
see,
Discord. Run for your life.
When everyone grows up, they
Oh,
want to be
shit.
SpongeBob, but
Oh,
they
shit.
slowly realize they're just Squidward.
Okay, so I just realized my mic has been muted in my recording software. At least I caught it after only 2 minutes instead of like 19 like last time.
So
Don't worry. No. They all heard. They heard all of you. My introduction dialogue is what was missing.
Yep. So do it
We're
all
just
again,
gonna
or
hit a
what?
refresh.
No, it's too late. We're committed. Fuck it. We're doing it live.
He made a Patrick Starfish joke.
Yes, that's pretty much the summary here. I introduced the British corner, I introduced the Soul Stare, and then I introduced Patrick. So, and we made some joke.
I wanna die.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No,
so
please don't die of your own volition, Patrick. It's rude.
I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at my knife sitting across the room in my
please,
laundry basket, and it's really tempting.
Please don't die. Please be polite and do not die. Okay.
Save it till
Let me
after.
consult the knife.
Soviet,
keep it as
save
3 Brits and 3 Americans, for goodness sake. Come on.
Soviet, wait till after Jibber Jabber that ends, then feel free.
No.
No. If I do it live, yes, though, you can clickbait it like a real YouTuber.
No, it is forbidden.
What's that knife of truth? I should find Tom. Glad.
That was a lie, damn it.
Oh my God, we are horrible people.
Yeah.
So,
We are horrible people. You feel bad, but we don't.
how was everyone's week?
I hate my job.
Besides
Tired.
having the most random storm that lasted about a minute or more, it's insane. But besides that, surviving the
Had
it's
the-
good.
Our fire alarm in our flat building went off a minute ago and it lasted about 10 seconds and then turned off again. So that's fun.
Huh?
Yes.
Wonder what that was
This
about.
happens very often.
I mean, you all remember the fact that I told a story about the last time I was at Everfree Northwest. Apparently, the fire alarm went off and I didn't notice because I was asleep. I slept through the fire alarm. There wasn't a fire; it was a false alarm, but I slept through it.
Whoopsie. Oh well, you sleep like a baby.
Sure.
You'll be fine.
For an insomniac, you're a heavy sleeper.
I mean, to be fair, I imagine I probably didn't sense any instinctual danger. That is a thing humans have, is instinct that can sense if there's an actual danger. If I'd smelled smoke, I would have woken up.
I say that issue is not everyone does.
Just to give you a heads up, sorry if I'm a bit silent now and then, especially earlier. I'm trying to basically eat up some food, so I'm going to keep meat with myself now and then when I'm eating.
All right, fair enough. But yeah. As for my week, it's been interesting because I've picked up a new project, which is actually the subject matter of the first topic for the day, which Tom can also chime in on a bit, I suppose.
Transition.
Oh.
Yep. So essentially, y'all know how I've been playing a Final Fantasy D6 campaign with Tom and Lumina and Hades and Darkness, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I'm playing it.
Yep. And we've been giving recaps of it each time we play during Jibber Jabber. So, there's that. Well, Final Fantasy, the franchise that the D&D game we're playing is based off of, started off as a video game. And it's primarily a video game franchise.
Really? Who knew?
Yep.
Well, it just occurred to me that...
Who could have thought?
Well, anyways, and there is this game engine with kind of a mixed reputation called RPG Maker. A lot of people like it for its ease of use. A lot of people dislike it because of its lack of flexibility and the ease of use with which one can make asset flips with it. I can understand both sides. I personally lean more into the prior category just for the sake of casual use.
Yep.
And it's primarily designed to make JRPG games, so games like Final Fantasy or other JRPGs in that same sort of vein, like Dragon Quest and stuff like that. Well, yeah, so with that in mind, I have several versions of RPG Maker, including the most recent one, RPG Maker MV, and... well, put simply, whoever's digging around in a plastic bag, could they not?
Sorry, I have a bag of Haribo.
Okay, could you mute yourself when you're digging into it?
Yeah, I have been. I just forgot to do it that time.
I forgot to do it the last 12 times.
Are you going to share with the rest of us?
Shush. Yes, I'll shove it through my microphone because physics.
Please don't do that. Please do not do that.
I don't want no candy. I'm good.
We're starting an hour earlier than
candy
usual
from
for this
strangers.
because of daylight saving, so bear with us if we're a little weird.
I was not ready for this.
Okay, Discord.
All
My
right.
opinion on the program you're using. So what if it's limited? As long as it gets the job done, I'm happy with it.
Well, anyways, as it
Better than nothing.
Indeed. Well, as it stands, it just seemed fitting to me to, I don't know, I just got a worm up my butt and was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna take our Final Fantasy D6 D&D campaign and convert it, word for fucking word, more or less, into an actual Final Fantasy fan game using RPG Maker. And over the last week, I have converted the entirety of the first session into that.
Dang.
Yeah, I
Nice.
have a playable.
I like it.
I have a playable demo already ready on my hard drive and on Dropbox. I won't be sharing it publicly, not until it's a bit further in and a bit more polished. Because as it is, the current playable demo is, if playing at a decent speed and you know where everything is and you just take your time to get to it, it's only about an hour of stuff. At least if you set the message speed to 9 instead of 8, which I'm thinking I'll change the default to 9 instead of 8. And let me tell you, converting a D&D game into an RPG Maker game
Is hard.
it's time-consuming. Especially
It's time consuming to make any game.
well, yes, but it's a bit more time-consuming here than I'm used to because I'm having to constantly bounce back and forth between the in-game editor and the actual recordings of our D&D sessions to get the dialogue.
Well, you wouldn't be doing that much longer.
Yeah, and
But that's my new job.
yeah, I have to. Yeah, I've been having to copy the dialogue word for fucking word, more or less. And it's a very tedious and lengthy process. A lot more lengthy and tedious than just writing the dialogue on the fly, which I used to do with some of my old projects back in the day, where I knew where I wanted shit to go, but I didn't have like a script pre-written, so I just kind of made it up as I went, like I always do. Didn't always work out very well. But excuse me. But yeah, and it's interesting because I'm having to work around a lot of the inherent limitations of the RPG Maker engine. And there's one thing I already realized that I won't be able to do that makes me sad that I cannot do, and that is, in the first session, there was a scene where Rocket kind of trundled about in a region of the city they're in called the Hanging Homes, and they're called that because they are literally homes that are hanging. They are suspended in the air via viney, ropey cables.
Oh, I like that scene.
Yeah, the thing is, I cannot recreate buildings like that in RPG Maker.
Damn it!
There is not a way to do it.
No.
It is straight up impossible.
I mean, you could just, for the sake of the thing, turn it into normal homes.
I did. Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did. But it bothers me because it's a big part of that city's charm, and I can't mimic it. I still included the scene with Rocket talking to the kids about how the homes are built to withstand a storm, but it just kind of loses some of its intrinsic charm if they're not actual suspended baskets that act as houses. I've been giving some thought on how I could maybe fix that, and one idea is I could just make a whole new tile set and use some 3D modeling programs to essentially design the houses in that and then just put those in. But then I'd have to completely re-choreograph the whole scene, which would be a nightmare in 3/4, and I'd have to redo the entire map too, which would also be a nightmare.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest, could you create one, but then you probably have to take it all apart and reassemble it.
I mean, yeah, that would be the big thing. So I'll probably not be doing that because this is mostly just a Gits for Gits and Shiggles project. It's not meant to be taken super seriously. It's not meant to be like super duper high quality. Like, you know, it's not meant to be that. No, it's just kind of meant to be, you know,
for fun.
Yeah, it's for fun. It's just me fucking around for Gits and Shiggles until I get tired of doing it. Which, you know, I always.
At which point, I will probably take over it.
If you so wish. Just bear in mind.
Yep.
But let me also tell you, I'm also making an active effort to hold true to the rules and gameplay systems of the game that we are using to play the campaign, Final Fantasy D6. As a point of reference, in RPG Maker's default lineup, characters begin with around 400 to 500 hit points. In Final Fantasy D6, you start within the ballpark of 20.
Dang.
And enough MP to maybe cast one spell before you have to rest. So, at level 1, you're kind of helpless.
Yeah, I know that very intimately.
Oh yeah, Tom was one-shotted.
I even love the sound effects you gave to Rocket.
So, the Chocobo noise from Final Fantasy VII, that was. But,
especially the thumping. Like...
yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, essentially just for everyone curious about what all that, the current content that I've put together covers, it just goes from the starting sequence and ends with the end of the first session. Essentially, that's what each episode, quote-unquote, in this game will cover is a playable sequence, one of the sessions, although I might occasionally merge episodes. Like, for example, sessions 2 and 3 might get merged into one episode, quote-unquote.
There are some bits in terms of dialogue that I've been transcribing episode 5 today that I've had to cut, because a lot of dialogue was bartering with shopkeepers, for example, which in Final Fantasy you don't do.
Yeah,
you just go in the buy menu.
Yeah, so there'll be some scenes that are just kind of cut or retooled a bit to fit better in the format of a video game. For example, there was one sequence where the party was just trying to climb up the fucking wall to get into the city proper, if everyone here recalls that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my character got crushed by a chocobo.
Yeah. Well, I wound up not including that particular series of scenes, even though it meant having to skip the rope. Largely because there just wasn't a way I could make that work in gameplay very well.
Not that the rope has disappeared entirely.
Oh yeah, I had it in there somewhere.
And you can always, mention them. You can always do a mention.
Thanatos, you found rope? I haven't found rope.
He never finds the rope.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is rope in the game that can be found. I'm just not telling you where.
Yep.
It's gonna be an Easter egg.
Yes, it's an Easter egg. You find it. Oh, hey, some rope. And it's in your inventory forever after that. It's a key item that you can't use.
Is it gonna be weightless?
I
mean, items don't come with weight in RPG Maker. You just have inventory slots.
No.
Item stack. So it's just gonna hang out there and do nothing.
Yeah, if we try to be realistic, then it might be unfun.
No.
How many slots
Make
do
an
you have?
alternate ending where the rope is required.
Well, I mean, first of all, the FFD6 campaign has to get that far first. We're still in the first chapter, and I have no idea how many chapters there are going to be. It depends on what the players do and how they proceed, what plot arcs they choose to pursue, what story threads they deem important.
On that note, I just had a thought that if you keep the rope in your inventory the entire game, just like a random extra bit of dialogue where Thanatos goes, "Hey, is that rope? How long have you had that?"
Oh, you know, a while.
Yeah. Well, it might serve us later if we need to get, I don't know, say maybe have to climb up again and may have to help walk it up again.
I mean, Darkness's character already, he found the rope that Thanatos could not in FFD6. So you never know. We'll see what happens. But,
every little helps.
Every little bit helps. Anyway, but yeah. So, right. So, yeah. And it's been an interesting process. That much is clear. Tom and Darkness, have you two actually played it yet? I put it in the private FFD6.
Oh, of course.
Well, I played the original one, but I haven't yet played this one, mainly because I've seen a lot of it, but not all of it. But yeah.
Well, I mean, there are a bunch of new scenes, of course, and several new maps.
I also haven't had time because I've been busy between my fix, general other stuff, and transcribing for you.
Well, I know what you're doing after Jibber Jabber today.
I'm probably gonna give it another try again and play it again.
You got to the ending screen, right? The one where the red mist and shit and the spooky battle scroll.
Yep.
Good. All right, but
yeah, I have been a bit occupied myself since I'm doing tons of favors for people and trying to construct multiple things for multiple things I'm doing. Oh boy!
Also,
in specific,
and also, just because we're on the topic of FFD6, no, we didn't get to play this week because Hades had a thing. His fucking things.
Also,
has Black even joined this session yet?
Well, I'm amazed I made it to this because I thought I wasn't going to make it today.
Cogmog never turned up. He probably drowned.
I mean,
Oops.
We were trying to plan another round of Borderlands, but one of the others couldn't make it, so we had to cancel that.
Oh. Yeah. Blank's kind of busy, but yeah. So that,
like always.
So yeah, that is our efforts to take our Final Fantasy Dungeons and Dragons campaign and turn it into an RPG Maker video game. And on the topic of Dungeons and Dragons, Tom.
Yes.
He apparently has a story for us.
Oh yeah, this is
will be good.
So obviously by now anyone who's Jibber Jabber knows every now and then we have over here at uni, a group of us have occasional one-shot D&D sessions or various other role-play systems. This time, this is the story of a wizard named Gonk.
Gonk.
I always like the storyteller of Tom. Go forth and tell me.
Basically, little backstory on this character I make is normally my characters in roleplay are more like near Phil, semi-serious ranger type characters who, while I can do comedic elements, like more often than not have serious storytelling going on. Gonk is my first attempt to create a character that is just dumb for the sake of it. So, Gonk is an idiot who one day, while traversing the streets, found a piece of paper with some spells scribbled on it. Somehow he learnt them and now is a self-proclaimed wizard.
And wizard donk.
Yeah. And as a wizard, he wants to go and save the world by firing lasers at everything. Because everything magical is a laser of some sort. Even if it's a healing spell, he calls it healing lasers. He is obsessed. Like, you can count an enemy, fire a laser at it. There's a puzzle, shoot a laser at it. Yeah, that's his entire thing. He's He's
And I thought he was
intelligent,
gonna
but
donk people on the head.
Yeah.
But this is
he
better.
just called Gonk. Yeah, he's incredibly intelligent. So that's him learning this magic from a piece of paper he found. Like it's all dirty and mushed up, but he's not very wise. He's
Oh dear.
yeah. And this is the day that he got himself and everyone around him killed.
Oh god.
Gandalf will be face palming right now. Why?
So the campaign starts with there's 5 players. There's me. There's obviously Gonk. There's 3 humans who are all quite serious characters. The more you typically see, and then the 5th one is a little goblin named Binky.
Binky and the brain.
Binky, not Binky.
I know, I said Binky. Binky, and
Basically,
you are the brain.
He did.
But fun fact about Binky: Binky can only retain 10 seconds of memory.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh god.
Literally every other goldfish.
Oops.
Well, that's not the only DMD where you could be a goblin, it seems, because apparently in Magic version you can as well. Which I'm surprised
So-
you went that far.
The campaign starts. It has a bit of a slow start, so I wasn't sure whether I'd actually have a story to tell. But it got good later. Where we've been invited to this. It's actually a bit of a weird fantasy careers fair where a bunch of various guilds are advertising for new members. All of our characters have been invited. The 3 humans, they all turn up. They all get their invitations. It's fine. Binky turns up, doesn't know why she's there, and then just wanders in absentmindedly. I turn up in the middle of a botched teleportation on fire. Put myself out, hand the burnt note to them, the burnt invitation to them, and they luckily let me in. They decided not to.
Just let him in and don't ask questions, and maybe he'll leave you alone.
Yes. So during this time, I see a bunch of people combining technology and magic to create new stuff, and I'm like, give me the lasers, and they hire me for some reason. Poor bastards. The others go around, get into their various guilds. One of our people challenges the captain of the Royal Guard to a spar. Actually kicks his ass, even though Binky at one point was absolutely not knowing what was going on. Almost got chopped in half. But yeah, we were idling about for about an hour before finally we actually got set aside by the captain of the Royal Guard, who basically told us, hey, we're being attacked by a group of barbarians, of which Binky is actually one of them, just doesn't remember. So he wants us to go and, sort them out. We'll be paid a lot of money for it. So on this month, we're put on something called a Fopter, which is essentially an arcane helicopter, and sent out to it. So we're basically they just shove us on before we change our minds because they don't want to send their own people to go deal with the barbarians. Like the humans have all volunteered for this. I'm just kind of, I'll get to shoot lasers at something. Awesome. So I go on. Binky's just on this helicopter, just looking at, I have no idea why she's even there. Just constantly forgetting. We spend a good 5 minutes with the other 3 members of our group trying in character to get to know Binky, and then having a conversation that was constantly repeating because every 10 seconds Binky would forget the conversation.
Oh dear.
That is brilliant. I
What are we
love
doing
it.
again?
Yeah. So initially I'm part of this conversation, but it's going in circles, so Gonk gets bored. Gonk then looks around at this helicopter, knows it's magic, and is interested to see how it works. So initially, I try to scan the helicopter with magic just to see how it works. I roll low and fail. Gonk then gets annoyed, so he tries to tear up some of the flooring to see what the inner workings. Not strong enough, fails to do that again. So ultimately, in this situation, there's only one logical outcome.
Blow it up with a laser.
Shooting with lasers. So this is like while I'm doing this, the others don't notice because they're too busy messing around with Binky and trying to get her to remember something. So until at some point, like, I just fire a magic missile at it, at our own helicopter. This is like the start of the campaign as well. This is going to be a very significant thing later, by the way. So now there's a big hole in the helicopter. It starts chugging, and we crash straight into the dirt. Luckily, we had arrived by this point, so we made it. Just the helicopter was slightly smoking and in the ground, in a crater. We were all fine, luckily. I got out. They were all very mad at me, but Gonk was like, I shot it with lasers. It was fine. I don't get the problem.
Destroy them with lasers.
So we offload. Like, one of the first things we see is a group of barbarians just idly going nearby. We go up to them. We initially try to talk to them, and it just results in them believing we want to fight. So obviously, I just fire a laser into the lead one, like 3 magic. I got 4
damn it! I got the
magic
missile
missiles
head again.
to the first one. Binky then, not knowing what was going on, but knowing, hey, there's a fight. I like fights. Then gets our battle axe, go over to the barbarian I'd hit with my magic missile, and just cleaves them in 2. Like, because he was already burnt to a near crisp, just barely alive. The others then go and deal with the other 2. So it was a very quick fight. Ultimately, none of us even got hit. So, and then Binky and I, like, Binky now is in her homeland, the barbarian, is starting to be able to retain memory for a longer amount of time. It's slowly starting to become slightly more copious. And is very impressed with my lasers, and we very quickly become friends over our shared love with lasers. So, in that in mind, we decide that we want to go and find more things to shoot lasers at, so we, while the other humans are too busy looting, wander off into the nearby forest away from them.
Oh god. Oh god.
While we're in there,
Oh no.
we are attacked by this big fucking barbarian called the Shaman, who, upon appearing, I fire a laser at it, does nothing. Binky attacks with her axe, misses, making us come to the conclusion that this shaman must have super magical invisible lasers protecting him, because there's no other way that magic would fail and Binky could possibly miss.
Oh my god. This is golden. This is just pure unrefined. This is just pure.
So Binky and Gonk are panicking right now. Clearly the laser god we're fighting. At which point the other 3 hear the commotion, like, what the fuck's going on over there? Come over. They see the shaman, at which point one of the other humans, who has like this special attack called a moonbeam, basically fires it at the shaman, does a lot of damage, and it stays there, so it does damage over time, and proceeds to taunt Gonk on how his laser's better. Challenge fucking accepted.
Oh god.
Oh no.
No.
Gonk then takes out like a little charm thing he'd gotten from that guild he joined earlier, a one-time use super-powered lightning bolt that he proceeds to fire straight at the enemy. Binky's still next to the enemy, so it goes straight through the enemy and Binky, through them, and levels a huge area of the forest behind them in a massive explosion. It sets it on fire.
Oh.
It shut the taunter up, but it also gravely wounded both the shaman and Binky. Binky's fine with it, okay?
No, not Binky, not Binky.
Binky was fine with it though. Like, that was awesome. But then it proceeds to have a flashback as all her memories start to come back to her, and apparently she has a very tragic backstory about her father being murdered for her as a child and setting out to avenge him or something. Suddenly has this massive crisis of identity going on, and then immediately forgets it.
Oh, the pain.
Also, the next turn comes around, and since the moonbeam's still active, the shaman takes more damage, but since Binky's still in range, Binky also takes damage from the moonbeam. So Binky's constantly taking damage. Binky doesn't care. She's just going to hit the thing with an axe. At this point, though, the shaman vanishes. But the guy who taunted me earlier spots him trying to sneak away with like this magical act of camouflage. So refocus the moonbeam on them. Binky proceeds to grapple the shaman, attempting just to punch them, taking more moonbeam damage in the process. The shaman proceeds to grab her by the neck, pick her up, and pummel her into the ground, creating a Binky-shaped crater that she's just lying in.
Oh god.
Oh.
At this point, she's on 5 hit points.
Damn. You pick a fight with the one guy, you're gonna be in a bad time.
Another high member, he's our healer, but he has a big sword. He comes charging in and swipes at it. At this point, Gonk is out of magic missiles. Gonk is out of normal lasers. So clearly he has to now fire his water lasers, i.e. make a tidal wave.
Oh no! Oh no!
So he proceeds it, he goes, he fires the water lasers. This massive tidal wave comes in straight on the shaman, our healer, and Binky. The shaman is washed away, and our healer is hurt by the impact, and the hole that Binky is in fills up with water, and she drowns.
Oh no! Binky, no!
Luckily,
shit.
Luckily, the healer proceeds to revive Binky on 12 HP and recovers her from the water.
Okay. Please tell me that Binky is alive at the end of this campaign.
We're getting to that.
Oh god.
At this point, the shaman is gone.
I'm worried.
I'm fine. Yeah, our other 2 human buddies are fine. Binky's on 12 health. The healer's heavily hurt because my tidal wave fucked them up. It's something I can only use twice. And so the healer starts having a go at me, but it's water lasers. I killed shaman. I am winner. I am hero. Gonk is fine. And Binky supports Gonk, even though she drowned. At this point, you know that scene in Jurassic Park where the T-Rex shows up and there's that thumping and the water's kind of shaking?
Oh god.
Oh no.
Oh god.
Did you
As we're debating, the trees start giving away and this big fuck off giant turns up, who turns out to be named Billy, who's also the guy running the barbarians we came here to kill. We didn't know he was a giant. That's why the guards sent us rather than our people, because we're expendable.
Holy fucking shit. It's a giant.
He arrives. Before we can react, he proceeds just to hit out with his arm and topples all of us instantly and kills Binky. Just instantly kills Binky. Just smashes her into the ground. Yeah. So she's not fully dead yet, though the healer can't do it because we're in combat. So currently on, in D&D what death rolls are, right?
In 5th edition, death saves.
Yeah, so you either need to get 3 or get a crit on 1 to get up.
Please save him. Save Binky.
Binky's a sheep.
Shit. Save her.
So we've all taken a big hit from this. So and we roll for initiative. I roll highest. So clearly the only thing I can possibly do in this situation is more water lasers. Despite the fact that all of us are right next to the giant.
Don't. Oh shit.
The tidal wave comes in. It greatly hurts 2 of the humans. I'm fine because it's mine, and our healer drowns.
Oh no!
Oh fuck.
The giant is barely touched, looks at Gonk, picks up a boulder and squashes Gonk with it, killing him instantly. I am dead. I just get crushed under a bomb and turned into jam. And then I go to join the frolicking lasers in the sky.
What a horrible death. Poor little sod.
At this point, the guy who taunted me earlier is, fuck this shit, I'm out, and starts running back to the helicopter.
Get to the chopper.
He forces it into the air, despite the fact it's still got a hole in it, it's still on fire, somehow manages to get it going, and starts fleeing. Luckily, we were expecting the giant to see it and just toss a boulder at it, but the giant got distracted by our one other remaining party member, who was abandoned by the taunter, who, by the way, was very salty at this point because he was refusing to die because no D&D character he'd ever played had ever died. So he attempts to run away. He succeeds. He goes and finds a little hole somewhere to hide in. At this point, Binky is has failed 2 of the death saves, is now on the final 1. She rolls 1 more and gets a crit and gets back up.
Woohoo!
The giant turns to look at her, impressed that she survived, and proceeds to adopt Binky as his own.
Oh!
So Binky and the giant walk off into the sunset, leaving the drowned healer and my crushed body behind. Meanwhile, the other party member who escaped, our GM asks him to roll a dice, fails the roll, at which point, apparently, a group of cannibals found him in his hole and proceeded to eat him alive. He died. This leaves only the Taunter, who is now leaving in the helicopter as I get on my phone and start playing the ending theme to Jurassic Park.
Holy fucking
The end.
And amidst all of that, the part that I care about, Binky lived. That is what I care about.
By a giant.
Binky lived and got adopted. You go, little goblin girl. I have a soft spot for little goblin girls, thanks to Not the Brave from Critical Role Campaigns 2.
Yeah, like Binky and the guy who ran away was the only survivor. I got the rest of us
Binky
killed.
and the giant.
Immediately afterwards, all the my friend who was playing Binky was just so thrilled with the entire thing. Like we were just went in trying to be stupid and we had a blast of a time. The others were a mix of joyful at how funny it was and also completely salty at how I single-handedly fucked our entire party and doomed us and failed the mission by those 2 tidal waves. The water lasers were very dangerous, didn't you know?
Don't stand in the way of my water lasers. Everything is lasers.
Y'all better
Everything
be careful, because
everything is lasers. Lasers are better. Like lasers are better than your sword. Shut up, you shit. Lasers.
What race was Gonk?
Gonk was this. I can't remember the exact name, but it was this weird, like animal elf hybrid thing.
Okay.
He was probably model of Ben.
Oh God.
Come on, don't you dare.
No.
We don't want a goblin Ben, thank you.
But Gonk died satisfied because he got to go frolic with the lasers in the sky.
Oh, that is
What a
Tom's
wonderful
story. That was great. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, it was the stupidest campaign I've ever played.
I need to do one shot sometime.
Sad relief.
Anyways, so on another note, Crow pointed this out to me in Jibber Jabber roll call before we started today, that there's one topic that a story that I told a few episodes back that no one ever actually heard because it was in the episode where the audio cut out. So I suppose it would be prudent at this point to just go back and retell that story. For context, a few episodes back we were talking about weird people we'd bumped into at earlier points in our lives who just had these really weird quirks or eccentricities. Everyone else's stories kind of got in there. Mine did not. So I'm just going to go ahead and retell it. And it is the story about a girl in high school who for some reason really, 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 really liked my beard. I remember.
But hearing this, I have to make sure that mine is just shaved off because I don't want this experience.
Anyway, it's worth noting this was years ago and in high school, so my memories of it are a bit hazy, so I might get some details mixed up. But what it basically amounted to is in high school, and even just when I was a teenager in general, I had a crazy amount of hair growth, and my beard was no exception. It was like a forest down there. If I just left it to its own devices, it could get colossal. More than once, people thought I was a senior or was just straight up graduated because of how big and poofy it was. But no, I was a fucking sophomore.
Yeesh.
Yeah, so like, I remember one time someone asked me, like, dude, how old are you? I'm like, 16. It's like, you're fucking lying. No, I am a sophomore. It's like, bullshit. No way. You're at least a senior. I was like, no. No, I'm not.
Amazing. That is the unbelievable thing.
Yeah, well, I mean,
to a person.
Well, I mean, I looked so much older than I actually was when I let my beard grow. It's still true. Now, if I shave off my beard, I look younger than I am.
True. To be fair, people thought I was a lot older.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 22. If I shave off my beard, I look like I'm 17 or younger. I still got baby fat on my face.
Oh, sorry, I meant younger, not older.
Anyways, as it is, so yes, I had an epic beard in high school, and it was so epic that one day, some girl who I, in retrospect, honestly should have gotten the name of, saw it. I forget where this was. I think the first time it happened was in the cafeteria during lunch or something. And I was just sitting around eating the lunch that my mother had gotten for me because I didn't eat the cafeteria lunches. I brought my own. And I hear just this delighted, high-pitched squeal from somewhere nearby. And it's getting closer to me. Now, naturally, it's a loud, high-pitched noise in a room full of teenagers who are trying way too hard to sound deep, gruff, and manly. So I look around, and I see this, kind of tan-skinned lady running up to me, just this enormous, goofy grin on her face. I have no idea who the hell this lady is. But she runs up to me, looks at my beard, and I don't remember if she asked first or not. I don't think she did. Or if she did ask, she didn't wait for an answer, but she reached out and just caressed my beard a few times, giggled maniacally to herself, and ran away. I was so confused.
What the fuck just happened? This literally explains that scene.
I had no idea what had happened. I was so confused. Anyways, so few days, and this began to become a recurring thing. Lady would spot me from somewhere. There would be this loud, delighted shriek. She'd come running over, pet my beard, and go. She even gave me a fucking nickname. She started calling me Beardo because my beard was magnificent and she wanted to touch it. I was still so horribly confused by this. I let it happen for a while because it was kind of charming, but after a while it just became kind of creepy because she was so incessant about it. Eventually I asked her to stop, and thankfully she did, but I should have gotten her name because who knows what would have happened if I did. Who knows where I'd be now if that lady had become my friend? Who fucking knows? Too late now. But
well, the real question is, what are the odds of bumping into her at random?
Slim to none. I never leave my house.
Fair enough.
And even if I did, there's no guarantee she'd even recognize me. My beard's not nearly as big now as it was back then because I actually maintain it now. And, grown a bit. I doubt she even remembers that. I was on the receiving end, so I remember it quite vividly because I was confused by fucking everything weird psychopathic teenagers did. But, I doubt she remembers it because she probably did a lot of crazy shit like that if just that interaction with a total stranger like me is anything to go off of.
Yep.
Yeah, so that is the story of the weird girl in high school who was so infatuated with my beard that she nicknamed me Beardo and routinely ran up to me while shrieking in delight to pet it and then run away before I could protest.
And can confirm why the human race is still the strangest species on this planet.
No, that's the blobfish. Humans are close second.
Okay, then. That is a good point.
Which is why blobfishes are like my favorite type of fish. I mean, have you looked at them? They're so hideous but adorable.
I know,
it's adorably cute.
They're adorably ugly.
I know one's president.
Anyways, so we have one more pre-lined up topic for the day. This one actually comes from Soviet, excuse me. And it comes in the form of apparently he had a weird dream or something. So
everyone better not have died at the end.
So Soviet, regale us with this tale of your weird dream.
So basically this dream is weird. It was fucking weird. I don't know why I had this dream. Maybe my future self has found a way to connect to me telepathically and warn me of my future or something. But basically, it's about 5 years from now, and I get drafted into the army for some reason. I don't remember the specifics. I think it was like 3 or 4 countries in the Middle East near Jordan area had joined up, and they started attacking both Israel and Russia. So, of course, because Israel's getting attacked, the Americans are getting involved, and now the Russians are getting involved because they're getting attacked. So I get drafted. So, it gets bad to the point to where the draft is reenacted. I get drafted and get sent off to basic, where I immediately piss off a drill sergeant because I exist. She walks up. What is your name, recruit? Specialist Thomas, drill sergeant. Why are you in this army? I received a letter telling me to be here, sir. Did you just sir me? It is ma'am.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Oh my God.
Going through it, and apparently not only it is just me fucking up at every possible turn. I'm not good at PT. I am apparently not adequate with a rifle or sidearm. Then, they start assigning MOSs, and lo and behold, I get fucking chosen to be an EOD tech.
Which means...
Why?
Okay.
Fuck if I know. EOD techs are explosive ordnance disposal.
Oh.
You deal with a lot of roadside bombs.
Oh, so basically they
if
were just
artillery-
they were trying to get rid of you. Gotcha.
Yes.
You're
EOD techs is
disposable.
like-
You are a disposable human being of society. Now go and fuse some bombs for us. My goodness.
Yeah, basically. And so, they gather up all the people selected to be EOD techs, and they start training them on, bomb defusal. First one, okay, this is these are simple to disarm, but it'll take you a few minutes. I look down at the dummy explosive, unplug one wire, and the entire clock system and explosive things, all the little lights indicating the deactivate. This drill sergeant looks at me angrily because I unplugged one wire and the entire bomb went to shit.
No.
Second one was there were all of these more complex models of bombs, but the catch is someone they would never specify who had a live one that they had to defuse, meaning it would actually explode. Why did they do this?
Fuck?
They were fucking bored. So,
Pretty sure in real life that would be a court martial.
Oh, it would. In real life, that would be heavily.
Unless
But
they were lying to make the soldiers feel like they were under pressure, the trainees feel like they were under pressure, so that they'd perform better.
Right, but lo and behold, disarming their bombs. I can't figure out how to disarm it, and the timer is getting the timer went from 90 seconds and it's now ticking around 10. So my solution is to grab it, walk over to a cliff, and just chuck it off.
I mean, that works.
Problem solved.
It's gonna explode, but it's not gonna hurt you.
And then it exploded.
Oh!
They really were trying to get rid of you.
Fucking this lieutenant walks up.
I'm pretty sure you just dreamt up the plot of a comedy movie.
Yeah. Because I was just going to say, the sergeant...
The
Did you
recruit.
watch- With the drill sergeant, did you watch frickin' Full Metal Jacket before you gone to bed? But a fucking bomb
No.
live unexpectedly. Holy shit.
That
is just waiting to be a movie.
First lieutenant walks up. Specialist, why'd you throw the device over a cliff? Well, you see, sir, if it's out of the way of friendlies when it explodes, it's longer a problem. You were asked to disarm the device, not throw it off a cliff. I don't think you understand my position here.
You should have thrown it in his shitter. Give him a wheel to take a plane.
So tell me, was the cliff not there and all of a sudden there when you needed it?
No, it was, from what I remember, there the entire time.
All right. Oddly structured dream.
But, minor stuff I don't remember about it. All of a sudden it goes, the end of basic training to active deployment. And, oh boy. The first thing that happened during our, active deployment is we're in a convoy going from an airfield to a forward operating base, and then out of nowhere there's an ambush. So, the front armored transport gets flipped. The rear one, all the ones behind the front one, stop and pull to the side. Everyone gets out of the vehicles. There's, gunshots in the distance. And then, out of nowhere, this piece of ground next to a vehicle, about 2 or 3 cars up from the one in the dream that I stepped out of, this little hatch opens up, and about 6 different guys carrying weapons pop up and start trying to shoot the soldiers from the convoy. And then immediately this one gunner on top of one of the trucks just turns the mini. Short burst, all 6 die immediately.
What the hell?
And fall back into the hatch. So, the lieutenant from the second car walks up, and he's like, "Oh, this is a tunnel. Well, I guess we better send some people down to investigate." So me and 5 random, I get selected along with 5 random other people to go into the tunnel.
Don't try to get rid of you. I see.
Yeah, no. I'm like, wait, just hold up a goddamn fucking second. I'm an EOD tech. Why are you sending me there? We're short-handed, and you happen to be one of the few capable of, not immediately bleeding to death. I guess that's a fair point, but still. Fuck you. And then it only gets worse from the tunnel, because the tunnel leads into a series of linked together rooms, one of which has a very detailed map detailing how the entirety of the operations being pulled by coalition forces, that being Russia, the United States, Israel, and Germany for some fucking reason. Why are we allowing Germany? Why in my dream Germany is allowed to take part in anything is concerning.
Why wouldn't they?
But it's like all of their major epicenters are surrounded by these tunnels. And these tunnels are used apparently for transportation of insurgents, weaponry, explosives, and, stuff like that. So we come up with the ingenious idea of maybe if we find the next point where all of them link together and cause a really big explosion, it will collapse enough of the tunnels for them to become useless. And so we went along with that stupid idea instead of going back to inform the officer that there's a bigger problem at hand here.
Well, I mean, yeah, fuck your officer. He's been trying to kill you.
No, it's not the officer. It's just the army itself.
Because the way they had that excuse, that's just the way I don't wish to die, so you do it. That's basically like there. What it is.
And so, about what feels like in dream time, about an hour and a half of trekking through tunnels to eventually lead to this one big room to the one room that connects to all of the tunnels, and there's just like, but it's like the room spans maybe 150 feet by 160, and it's covered where there aren't doorways wall to wall with just boxes of munitions and explosives. And in the center, there's just this big old stack of Soviet-era anti-tank mines in crates. And so, we decide, maybe the tank mines are the best way to go since they're packed with about 20 pounds each of explosives. So we walk up and then we immediately run into the problem of no one knows how to set up demolitions, and I get blamed for not knowing how to do it. Because, apparently I'm an EOD tech in this scenario, so I must know how to put bombs together if I know how to take them apart. No. It's not how it works.
Please say this is going to backfire on the sergeant.
No, the drill sergeant is no longer a problem here.
Bugger.
So, I did come up with the genius idea of, what if we just take one of our packs, put a bunch of grenades in the pack, and then pull one of the pins on the grenade?
That is a stupid plan. Let's do it.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's what happened.
Oh my!
That is a stupid plan. Let's do
it. They set the pack filled with grenades on top of the landmines. I saved one last one, pulled the pin, and then, for some reason, looked to a random person behind me and said, "I'm about to hit the fattest yeet of this year." Tosses the grenade into the center of the room, and then ran like hell. Of course, the results weren't exactly as planned. Instead of, collapsing tunnels, it's just now there's a giant crater in the middle of the desert, and everything around it's on fire.
Oh.
Oops.
Whoops.
Oopsie doodles.
Yeah.
So then we come up with the genius idea. Maybe if we could outrun the military and the insurgents, we won't have to put up with this bullshit anymore. So they stole a truck. And that's about it. That's where it ended. They stole a truck.
They stole.
I was just kind of standing there and confused.
So they stole a truck, and you drove off into the sunset, never to be seen again.
No, I stayed behind. They left.
Oh, so they drove off into the sunset. You just stood there in the middle of the desert because you're the fucking recruit who tossed the bomb over the side of a cliff. No one likes you.
Oh, blimey. It was either that, though, or die in a dream.
I mean, that would have just been you wake up, so.
Yep.
Well, then.
Or it will have turned into confetti, who knows?
Well, on that interesting note, we've got maybe 60 seconds left, so I think it wouldn't hurt if we just end here, so. All right, so
I will say this: that is definitely one of the strangest dreams I've had for a long time.
Oh, I've had stranger. Mostly because mine.
Watch when I put in Jibber Jabber roll call, you'll see a strange dream.
No, there's a quick question for everyone. Has anyone had a dream when you're falling, you just feel it even when you woke up?
No. But I've had a dream where I got
that
crushed
was
by
a strange one for me.
No, but we are probably meant to be ending.
Yeah, we've got 30 seconds left, so thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, so much for tuning into this episode of Jibber Jabber. We hope you enjoyed, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Keep listening, people. Bye-bye.
Ta-ra.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Dreams are fucking weird.